Hi there, it's me, Kyle Laris at the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai, and we're going to take a little bit of a backstage look as to what goes on behind the scenes. First to our left, or right even I should say, we do have our Chinese commentators. They're for the Chinese crowd here at the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai, as we are at China Joy, which is Asia's biggest gaming event all around the calendar. So very exciting for those guys. Let's move on a little bit further as we have our chill area over to our left-hand side here. But over here, we have our analyst desk, where we have Mr. Artosis, who is hosting currently what's going on. We have Maynard and Rotterdam, who are not only breaking down the games that are currently going on the main stage, but are also giving you a glimpse as to what's going on in the games over on laptops over there. Let's move on just a little bit further, as around this corner, we have the commentary stage, which is just right over there. Pig and Wardy are currently over there, and are broadcasting Bunny versus Dark, which has just gone on to 1-1 here for the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai.
Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters in Shanghai. Only 2 matches remain. Currently, we have seen Hero advance to his 5th IEM finals.
Oh man, that reverse sweep was insane. What the balls in this kid to whip out the most incredible Stargate proxy I've seen in Game 5.
God, it's almost making it right in view of everything.
It was a pixel away. It was so close.
And as crazy as that series was, I think that this series can measure up. It's ByuN. He's the defending world champion, probably the fan favorite pro gamer we've ever had in StarCraft II. Going up against the player who has dominated the ladder for months now and is ready to make his mark in the pro scene.
Yeah, people love ByuN, and for all the right reasons, right? His stream is awesome, his personality is great, the emotions he shows, whether he wins or loses, it just, it touches you inside. You feel it yourself as well, and you can have any pour in the one. Like, you could probably have ByuN in a fight against a grizzly bear, and people would vote for ByuN to win that fight.
That is
true. People love ByuN, and he deserves it, man. His games are awesome to watch. This series is going to be fireworks. It's going to be sick.
I definitely agree with this. Sorry, Mino, I got to jump in there. Like, he is so beloved because of all these emotions and everything. But let's not forget, this is the greatest micro player of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, the reason why Reapers have looked as good as they looked isn't because of every Terran on the ladder, it's because of ByuN.
Yeah.
It's not because of TY, it's not because of Gumiho.
This is because of him. I do not argue with this. Like, the Reaper nerfs that are coming down the pipeline, it's ByuN's fault. You don't like him? ByuN's fault.
Yeah, that guy on the left. He's at SE2ByuN on Twitter. Just let him know. But yeah, I mean, the reasons why he's not a fan, he's a fan favorite are very, very clear. But I think Rogue's starting to pick up a lot of steam as well. Just to talk about the other guy for a second. He has been looking so good in GSL, in online tournaments, in smaller online tournaments, bigger online tournaments. He is crushing it. And of course, being number 1 in the Korean ladder, not only just like, it's not like he just hit it a week ago.
No.
He's been there for, what, months?
Months.
Yeah.
Like, at least 2 or 3 months, he has just basically been at the top of that.
Yeah, and that speaks a lot to his form right now. It means he's consistent, means that he's solid, and he's been showing that today in this tournament so far, so I expect it to come through again, even against ByuN.
Well, this match, I think, is just as hard to predict as our previous match. And the thing is, you look at how hard a time we were having with, like, okay, who's supposed to win this? And then it goes 2-0 TY. I'm like, wait, is this a 3-0? And then it switches around to a reverse. Like, you couldn't have things more unpredictable. And I feel like this is the same way. Like, I feel like Rogue is sitting here. He knows that Reapers are going to be coming for him, but can he stop him? Is he going to die to him? I don't know.
Just to strengthen a little bit what you just said, I mean, if you look at the numbers, these 2 guys actually played against each other earlier this month in the Ballistics Brawl. ByuN won that series, but it was very close. It was 3-2. Historically, ByuN has been very good against Rogue, and all these games have happened in the last 2 years, so I'm not talking about 2013 games. He's 7-1 in series, but obviously the last one was 3-2, and the one time that Rogue beat ByuN, it was a 3-0, and that was the qualifier of this tournament.
Oh my God.
What does that tell us? I mean, yes, the overall record heavily in favor of ByuN, 7-1. Qualifying for this tournament, Rogue 3-0'd him. Last time, very close, 3-2. I agree with you, Tosis. I think this is super hard to call, and it should be hard to call. I mean, we're in the freaking semifinals of an IEM. It sucks if we have like one-sided series, and I don't think this is going to be one.
Let's not forget as well, WCS points on the line, a lot of them. 1,500 for first place. And everyone that's left in this tournament right now needs them. TY was the last guy that automatically has a berth due to his TvZ win, but Hero needs points. He is in the top 8 right now.
Right. He needs them too. This guy on screen right now, he's on the precipice. He's 10th, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Rogue is actually quite a bit further down. So, like, he doesn't just need to do well here. He needs to do well at GSL. He needs to do well at Super Tournament.
Well, Rogue is not the same Rogue of 4 or 5 months ago. He's completely changed. He's become a new, better man, a new version of himself. And what better time, man? Better late than never. He still has GSL. He still has this tournament. So I'm looking forward to the series very, very heavily.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are incredibly happy to see ByuN already in the semifinals, not just because they love him, but like you guys said, he needed these points so badly. I think it's fun as well to see the contrast between these two. Obviously, ByuN is a little bit of a joker all morning long. You know, ByuN is like playing, he's lathering up, not necessarily the most serious stuff in the world. I watch him play a game, he gets perfect setup, and he just leaves the game. It was a ladder game, you know, and it's like, I think he was all right. He's like, okay, if I get in this position, I'll never lose. And I look over at Rogue, and like Rogue is just like browsing the forums, you know, and the only thing I can think of is like, he's having a mental debate with himself. He's like, is it going to be 16 or 17 Reapers? Either way, I think I'll be fine, you know. Like, it's funny to see the contrast between the two. Different preparations, but yeah, a huge series for both of them.
And, you know, this is not just like what you were talking about before with better late than never with like showing your skills through the year. Think about this. Last year, ByuN peaked late.
Yep.
He won the last GSL of the year and then won BlizzCon.
That's really good point.
Yeah, we don't know yet, but we might be watching exactly the same thing happen with Rogue because he is so hot right now on the ladder and everything. Everyone's talking about how strong he is. Hell, the games we're watching are so strong, but is this the beginning of Rogue's dominance, whereby this time next year we're talking about Rogue, the defending world champion?
I feel like if he keeps up this momentum, you're absolutely right. I think that we could be watching that right now. I've been seeing a bit of Rogue's practice as well, just over his shoulder. I've been taking some cheeky snaps here backstage, and he's been not really laddering a whole lot, but doing a lot of build order practice again in customs and that sort of thing. So he's been hitting the AI, and a couple of those builds look pretty cheeky. I wonder if we'll see them in this series.
It could also just be that ByuN just peaks at like fall and winter, and then like you know, like spring and summer is maybe not really, even though it's still kind of summery, but we're getting towards the later parts of the summer, so maybe this is where ByuN is going to pick up some steam again as well. It's going to be an awesome series. I really hope it's going to be as close and awesome as we hope. Hopefully just long games as well, where it doesn't get decided early on whether the Reapers do too much damage or not enough damage. Let it get to that stage in the game where both players, let's say Rogue is taking his 4th hatch, ByuN is getting comfortable on 3 bases, you know, and then basically they look at each other and it's like, all right, let's party. You know? Let's outplay each other right now.
That's a party that I want to watch. And in fact, I will be watching right up from here on the desk. And this brings me to our final question before we get this underway, boys. Who's going to win? What is the map score?
Look, from the very, very beginning of this tournament, said Rogue is going to win the whole thing. And I stand by that. I think Rogue's going to win, but it's going to be a slugfest, 3-2.
Okay.
Whether ByuN fights an alligator in the water or plays the semifinals, I will always vote ByuN. I think ByuN takes it, but very close as well. I think 3-2 ByuN.
Yeah, dude, if this is a 3-0 one way or the other,
then we know nothing about StarCraft.
No, well, then we know nothing about how strong these guys are today. They have reached another layer of Super Saiyan StarCraft.
The thing as well, though, is that even if this is a 3-0, for who is it going to be? You know, if it's 3-0 Rogue, I mean, Maynard's going to be like, yeah, I picked him, but that would still be an upset. If it's 3-0 ByuN, that's an upset as well, so.
Can't even imagine. Well, we will see. It is time. Get ready. Fasten your seatbelts.
Oh, baby.
Because it's Rogue versus ByuN.
Enough here to get on towards those Ravagers and bring them down. ByuN here engaging the Reapers. The Reapers take the Queen. GG! And he is going to go to the semifinals.
Hello and welcome to the second semi-final here at IEM Shanghai 2017. And Morty, with me is Pig, and we've got ByuN and Rogue in the booth ready to go.
Oh, it's a big semi-finals here. I love that little clip we had there. Just a few little moments from yesterday, the double GG coming through, because those games of ByuN taking out Su were that epic. We needed Maynard and Tasteless to shout out GG at the same time.
I mean, we really, really did. ByuN played his heart out yesterday. He's been playing his heart out all weekend long, but this guy on screen right now has been playing pretty darn well as well. A 3-0 in the round of 8 against Dark. He's here to win.
Yeah, he's looked so damn decisive lately. I remember about a month and a half ago talking to some friends. We're talking about GSL groups, who's going to win. And I was like, oh, I don't really think Rogue's going to do that well. He hasn't been that hot. And they're like, no, trust me. He's over 7,000 MMR on Korean ladder. Next thing I know, he's tearing it up in GSL. He's tearing it up down here. And he is going through with a strong chance against ByuN in this semi-final.
Yeah, it's almost as though he appeared a little bit out of nowhere in the latter half of this year, as they were talking about on the desk. He's starting to peak, and what a time to peak at when you've still got a chance to get to BlizzCon. And of course, if you can peak for BlizzCon itself, it's a pretty good time to be a peaking StarCraft II player.
Oh yeah, here we go. We're going to be launching on into map number 1. It is going to be Odyssey, and spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side, the red Zerg. It is Rogue. Of course, playing for Jin Air Green Wings, a team which he was very vital in some of their Pro League victories last year.
He really was. And to the top left-hand side from Team Expert, the Reaper Man himself, it's ByuN.
Fear the Reaper Man, that's what they say. And I got to say, I think every Zerg player going up against ByuN has a little bit of trepidation. There's a bit of fear, because you know you're going to be probably facing off against something like this. 3 Barracks Reapers walling off the natural, lots of Reapers coming out, and if you make a little slip up here or there, things can spiral out of control so fast, exactly like we saw yesterday in that final game where Su just fell apart under the pressure.
But if there is anyone who can deal with 3 Racks Reaper, I really do feel like it's Rogue. He's shown us online a couple of times he really can get to the later stages of the game against ByuN, and in general, he's just been so good at it. So I'm really feeling Rogue kind of shut down ByuN's Reapers. But what we also saw yesterday was even when ByuN's Reapers get shut down, his late game is monstrous.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point, Wardy. Really, the transition point, actually keeping up in workers as the Zerg, is the big problem which Su kind of had. And something we've seen in some of the past matches is Rogue likes to take his third base a little bit faster while defending those Reapers. And if he does get a bit of room, I think he's a little bit more open to droning harder. And whereas ByuN was very happy to sit back against Su, realizing he was kind of building masses of Zerglings, against Rogue, he might feel a little bit more pressure to push harder, and that creates a more volatile situation. If Rogue's slightly too greedy, maybe the Reapers get in and kill a lot of drones, but on the other hand, if ByuN comes too deep, he might trap a bunch of the Reapers and just wreck them.
ByuN is playing mind games, though. He's not going 3 Racks Reaper, only 2 Racks on the map, and he's throwing down a much faster command center, so he's actually going to go for, well, the mind game, you know? This is not what Rogue is expecting, but it looks exactly like what ByuN's been doing all weekend long on Odyssey.
Dude, I haven't seen this one in ages. This was around like for a very brief time last year, the 2 Racks Reaper expand, and this is very cool to see ByuN showing a little bit of depth to his play, still building a lot of Reapers, but not quite as many as we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and it does mean that he doesn't have to necessarily do as much damage, but it actually puts Rogue in a really awkward spot if he doesn't understand what's going on, because if he overmakes Zerglings to the point of what he needs against 3 Racks Reaper, well, ByuN has a much faster CC up, and it could just put Rogue's timing slightly off. And at the tip-top level of Korean StarCraft II, those little bits of information really do go the longest of ways.
I do think we've got such a fast factory coming in for ByuN. I wonder if it's just going to be straight into something like Banshees. I feel like it's way too early to go for Medivacs. Of course, doesn't even have a tech lab and a reactor down. He's actually frozen up on his barracks production for now as well. Okay, he's going to queue up another couple of Reapers. So a 3rd gas as well. Yeah, I think maybe ByuN's just going to go for Banshee. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But Rogue here, equal on workers, and now starting to drone quite hard, realizing that there's not as many barracks as he might have thought at first. His Overlord comes in and sees that was only 2.
Yeah, great bit of scouting there by Rogue. And I mean, only 18 Zerglings on the map means that he can already start making those extra drones. And I imagine very soon he'll start thinking about a 3rd base as well, which is something you can't usually get up as easily against kind of very heavy Reaper players. Against slightly less Reapers, it should be a bit easier, as he does throw down a Rotro, and he's actually making a few maulings, so maybe he's still a little bit unsure here. As we do see ByuN, well, he has that starport coming up, a reactor right next to it, so maybe just the medevacs to run around the map with.
You got to remember as well, in these spawns, ByuN's barracks are very exposed, and that Overlord is going to spot the stuff. But yeah, the add-ons there, they're going to be on the outside. So Rogue, if he chooses to do something like a Ravager Zergling push, he can do like a very kind of light commitment, snipe off things like Stim and the reactor on the outside of the wall, and then just back off, and that's going to be guaranteed damage. And medevacs are on the way? What is this build from ByuN? It's going to be medevac Reaper once again. He seems to be loving this medevac Reaper pressure, but still no Stim. He's starting Marine production and still only on 2 barracks. A very interesting variation from ByuN. I'm very curious to see how he's going to follow up.
ByuN's going to go super aggressive, I think. I know he's throwing down a 3rd CC, but he's also got a reactor on the factory, which is really indicative of something like Hellions. And so if you go for everything at the same time, like Reapers, medevacs, Marines, Hellions, and all sorts, it's going to be really tough for Rogue to hold. But Rogue did build that Roach Warren, and I think that's going to be super vital here because Roaches are just so much more sturdy against these sort of attacks.
Yeah, I think ByuN really would love to scout that. These Zerglings going to try and counterattack, and like I said before, those exposed add-ons are going to be a real big target, but Rogue going to back off for now. He can wait for those to finish, wait for the Stim to get close to be done, and then snipe it off. Roaches now coming out. The Reapers have bypassed them. They need to see those Roaches, because if ByuN starts going for Hellbats, that won't be too good. Looks like just Widow Mines, Marines, Medevacs, and Libs on the way for the moment. Ooh, the Reapers are going to spot those Ravagers morphing, Wardy.
Yes, he is, and I mean, this is what we were talking about. Rogue, he kind of stopped making workers, and he's just completely committing to this attack here very soon. We'll see if he's going to reinforce with further Zerglings, which he is right now, so he's going to get those across the map to follow up this initial burst, and is ByuN going to have enough to hold on? He is making 2 bunkers in his natural.
Look at all of his units. It's Liberators, Widow Mines, Reapers. None of these are good against Ravagers. The Stim just gets sniped instantly. Bunkers are nice, but he doesn't have any ranged damage. These Ravagers can just keep picking away at this, and Rogue is going pedal to the metal, non-stop Zergling reinforcements behind this. This is an absolute ton of Ravagers, going up to 10 Ravagers already. 1 barracks falling, another barracks is burning down. The Liberator, the bunkers are quite exposed.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tough defense here for ByuN. His only barracks are currently in the sky. His factory's in the sky as well. ByuN is only making Liberators right now. So while Rogue is still getting more and more units, ByuN really isn't.
Oh man, this is massive. Rogue coming in. The mass repair is good on that southern bunker, but the top bunker's already gone down. There's just so little damage here for ByuN. Oh, the Zerg numbers overwhelming. Everything falls down, and Rogue, a clean Game 1 victory.
He really just shut ByuN down, and I think it was just a good identification. And what ByuN did was very wishy-washy, you know. He went 2 racks Reaper, never actually committed forwards with them, and did damage. He tried to switch it up from there, but by the time, you know, Rogue's like, well, okay, you're not making that many Reapers, a counterattack could actually be very good here. And it was, because there just wasn't enough tech, there wasn't enough units. It was just too middle of the road on pretty much everything ByuN could have done.
I couldn't agree with that analysis more, Wardy. It really was just no point, no edge, no sharp moment where he made Rogue feel the pain, and I love that response from Rogue. Get the Roach Warren, sees the add-ons are going to be exposed, and then he says, wait a second, you're just going straight into Medevacs off 2 barracks Reaper? You've got no actual just raw fighting power in that army. A very smart and crisp response from Rogue, and now ByuN finds himself down 1 game here in this semi-final.
I think another thing as well is that because ByuN wasn't across the map with the Reapers, you never slow down the initial Roaches or Ravagers, which is so often the thing which buys you the extra second so that when that attack finally hits, it's like, well, why is he attacking? Like, he's not going to have enough, like, you know, ByuN just has so much ready. But ByuN was just sort of, again, sat back and just didn't really do anything. And what a weird way to start the first game of this series. I mean, Rogue goes 1-up. I mean, I don't think that's weird. I just think the way ByuN approached this was very weird, trying to get ahead on the mind games, but really not playing out for him.
Yeah, didn't seem like Rogue fell for the trick. I don't think he really overreacted at all. He started droning very quickly when he realized the Reapers weren't in his face, and very nice play. Reminds me a little bit of that BlizzCon finals last year. There was a game on Frozen Temple where Dark tried to counterattack the 3 racks Reaper with a Ravager Zergling all in, but in that case, ByuN had been putting the pressure on with the Reapers. He had a ton, and he just bounced those Ravagers and Zerglings around with non-stop grenades, tore them apart. Of course, the grenades had a much lesser cooldown. He had a lot more Reapers. It was a very different situation. This time, that small number of Reapers did not get a lot done at all.
It really, really didn't. As we get set up for our second map of this best-of-5 semi-final here at IEM Shanghai. To the bottom right-hand side, we have our player who's up 1-0 in the best-of-5. It is Rogue.
Did take a Game 1 victory on Odyssey. Most likely his map pick. That is a good map for Zerg. His opponent now going into a very good map for Terran Up here in the top left, in the blue, representing Team Expert, it is ByuN.
A man of the people. Pure raw emotion.
Oh, I loved seeing that victory yesterday,
Yeah.
jumping in the air after he won that series.
And his interview with Mal as well, he was just so happy. You look at Rogue's interview, and he even just says in the interview, like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. I just want to, you know, think about winning the tournament still.
I think Rogue's the kind of guy who, you know, he really tries to keep every emotion in check, and he does have a few cheeky celebrations, you know.
Yeah.
He doesn't have nicknames like Sexy Boy Rogue or anything like that for no reason, but here he's just been dead set focused, wants that trophy, wants to be an Intel Extreme Masters champion.
One a very interesting map here, Blood Boil. Nowadays, it does not have those gold minerals in the center, and a lot of people sort of feel as though that does make it a bit better for the Terran player compared to what it used to be for the Zerg. What's your take on that, Pig?
I think it's definitely a map with a lot of ledges, and I mean, a lot of people complain about 3-Rax Reaper on this map, which is why I'm very curious to see ByuN just doing a normal Reaper expand. He's actually going away from that mass Reaper play we're used to seeing from him, perhaps realizing that a lot of the Zergs have been going for defensive Roach play on this map. Looks like that's not going to be the case for Rogue, as he's just gone for that fast pool and gas, going to get out an early Queen, going to take the back hatchery, and looks like, I mean, really, you can make so many different plays. And there we go. Second barracks is going to fall down for ByuN. He's going to be going for a 2-1-1, a fast double Marine medevac drop. And with all these ledges, he can pick up on the high ground, drop on the low ground, hit from 3 different sides. Rogue's going to have a tough time defending it.
Well, is he? Because he has got a Roach Roaring coming down already, and that means that Rogue is going to be the one putting the aggression on. ByuN's going to have to be the defender here, but
Do you think maybe it's just defensive? Maybe he's worried about 3-Rax?
I don't
He's just
think,
like,
surely not with 200 gas in the bank already. It's super early, right? Like, even against Reapers, do you need it this early? I would say at least 30 seconds later or so. Like,
I think
It's tough to
I'm
call.
not sure. We'll have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely, you're spot on. It is an option, but I feel like any Zerg going into this map assumes they're going to face 3-Rax Reaper, and only now did that Overlord spot. Wait a second, this is like a normal 2-1-1 second barracks timing. This Marine's out, but he is going to commit to it. You called it, Wardy.
yeah, he's got a first 4 Roaches on the way. He has got supply for the rest of the Roaches coming up as well. Just 5. I wonder how much he does commit, though.
Still didn't spot the Roach Warren, man.
Yeah. This is painful for ByuN.
If he rotates around to a different side and the Roaches slip out, this will be so bad for ByuN. That being said, I mean, he is going 2-1-1, right? He's got 3 Marines building at a time. He should be starting Stim. That Stim really should already be underway. He has the money for it. Cannot afford to forget that. Once that kicks in, you can shut down any Roaches or Ravages that are still lingering around on the map.
The problem is it takes so long for Stim to kick in, and if ByuN had scouted this, he'd be taking such a different approach. He'd swap the factory onto that tech lab, and I feel like he'd start getting tanks out. Fortunately for ByuN, it's not super aggressive out of Rogue. 3 Roaches and 2 Ravages, it could be so much more. He could still be making units right now, whereas instead he is just going into drones behind this, hoping to just get some good pressure going, and to maybe just take a slight lead going into the mid-game.
Does he have an Overlord? Yeah, 1 Overlord just to the south of the ramp is going to provide high ground vision. That reactor, that depot are going to be the minimum amount of damage Rogue wants. He'd love to get a little bit more, though, because these Marines and medevacs, when they come out, that's going to be very frightening. And instantly a tech lab goes down here for ByuN. He's trying to get out of Siege Tank, but that's not going to be ready for quite a while. For now, it is just unupgraded Marines. Those 2 Marines pop just a second before the reactor goes down. ByuN just going to fall back, sacrifice the depot in the reactor. He's going to wait till he has a few more Marines.
I almost feel as though ByuN didn't even need that tech lab on the factory, but we'll talk about that in a moment because the tech lab on the barracks is taking damage, and ByuN's actually just going to move forward with SCVs to try and push this back for now. And so far, so good. A couple SCVs going down, but you got to remember Rogue is looking for damage here because he has committed a lot to this early on.
And he's droning hard behind it. It's not all in, but every SCV he picks off is really helping out his position. Already, he knows he's slowed down the medevac production here from ByuN, and this barracks getting awfully low. So many SCVs off the line here.
That tank is about to pop out. I think I was wrong. I was about to say maybe he didn't need the tank, but actually I think it's going to turn out to be quite useful here. He's going to be able to siege up. Well, does he want to siege it up? Oh, it's trapped. Ooh, that's a bit awkward. He's going to chase. I mean, sieging it up so dangerous when there's still the triple Ravager out, because those one set of barrels from 3 Ravagers. Bye-bye, siege tank.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that. He's going to defend for now, and let's kind of tally up after that. If you look at the worker count, Rogue has a small yet healthy lead. Doesn't really have any upgrades on the way yet, though. Doesn't have any tech. He definitely did a good little amount of damage, and importantly preserved those 3 Ravagers, which are very valuable. ByuN getting nice and tricky there. You'll notice he can actually dodge the attack animations before they contact the siege tank, and he's just getting free damage here with his APM. ByuN showing off the moves.
Wow, I mean, it would just be ByuN, of course. You know, he is the sort of player that would do this. He wants that Ravager that's low health, but he just can't drop the tank for long enough to actually target fire, I don't think. He will just have to settle for getting a few of those Ravagers low and haven't pushed them back. Here we go, ByuN is starting to push across with some Marines as well. He does have Stim. I feel as though Rogue's so ready for this though. He's already spent a lot of time droning, so now is the time where he can afford to just make units. And it's exactly what he's doing as his lair comes up as well. Rogue's really quite happily setting up into the mid game here, I feel.
ByuN's just trying to tilt Rogue right now with his siege tank. He's like, get mad, get mad. Look at this siege tank. The Marines not going to be enough to fight this. He's just going to have to stim and back on out of there. Behind this, no third CC on the way. It's just starting for ByuN. Doesn't have any upgrades on the way. Both players very low on upgrades and really stuck in a little bit of a slower economy game, as they are both trying to play safe against each other after this early aggression. Double Evo Chamber now going down for Rogue at almost the exact same time as the double Engineering Bay. So I think both players going to pull back a little bit, lick their wounds, and build up to the next phase of the game.
I mean, this is the sort of kind of game I want to see, because I'm so intrigued. Can ByuN go up against Rogue in a macro game where, sure, this wasn't the most standard way to open, but it's going to open into the mid game like pretty much even, you know, the players, the worker counts 47 to 55 is pretty good on either side. It's going to be really interesting to see who can pull out of this, because we've been talking about Rogue being this macro monster all weekend long, and ByuN being this player who has to get those early game leads if he wants to win these games.
Yeah, I mean, ByuN, he showed some definite persistence throughout his match versus Su. Couple of biles landing on the tank. Doesn't quite go down just yet. That Ravager sacrifices itself to take out one of those siege tanks. Nice little snipe there. And ByuN trying to put this pressure on. He's got more tanks and Marines coming out behind this, more medevacs. Going to take out a few more workers here. I think this is a good attack from ByuN. There aren't enough Ravagers to one-shot that tank, so this is just free damage for ByuN.
Yeah, this was really nice. He picked up 3 Ravagers overall, and he might just about save this tank. He lifts it up out of range of that corrosive bile just at the very end. This was really nice. Some drones, some Ravagers, and for ByuN again, okay, it cost him 1 tank, but he's kind of completely fine with that for how much he's picked off.
This is how to play this map as a Terran. Abuse these ledges. All these mineral lines have these ledges protecting them, and it takes such a long time for Zerg to get to the anti-air stage of the game. In fact, at the moment, Rogue still has next to no anti-air. He's just got the Biles and Queens, and he's continuing to take damage here. Finally gets the last Bile in that tank. It will go down, but ByuN here slowing him down a lot and keeping himself in this game. ByuN's worker count, interestingly, still only down at about 53 SCVs. Hasn't got his 3rd mining. He's just going to start floating that down. And I really think ByuN's plan here is just non-stop Marine, tank, elevator pushes. Just keep hitting those ledges, keep coming in from multiple angles, and abuse the fact that Rogue is going for a very slow composition that, for the most part, can't shoot at these medevacs.
This map's so great for just dropping around as well. You can go from this forward 4 phase to the main so easily, and there's other positions on the map you can do that as well. And right now, well, ByuN just going to stop short on the main, and, you know, this is still a threat, and now Rogue has to be in 2 places, the main and the 4th. So it's already getting a little bit difficult just from 1 drop to the right side. And don't forget, ByuN is very likely to send more medevacs across very soon as he comes in. He is going to get a Queen. He's going to go for some Ravagers as well.
Juicy hits there. Takes down 4 Ravagers. A very good trade for 6 Marines. A couple hundred minerals. ByuN is totally fine with throwing that away. Rogue, on the other hand, he's going for Mass Roach Ravager. Probably wants to go for Infestors later. He really needs that gas income. He's going to be starved for it all game long.
Yeah, this is really kind of just going ByuN's way so far, I think. I mean, I don't think he's in a massive lead or anything, but I really feel as though all the trades have just been slightly ByuN favored, apart from maybe the very first kind of little bit of aggression out of Rogue. So ByuN mentally, I think, is kind of happy at this right now as he goes for a much larger push down the right-hand side.
Natural as well there for ByuN. Yeah, I agree with you, Wardy. I mean, he's definitely got that tempo edge right now. The supply is still looking very healthy for Rogue. Todd would be impressed, but, oh man, 85 workers as well. That's a big economy for Rogue. And this is a scary push. 5 siege tanks. Not a lot of creep spread here.
Yeah.
If ByuN can get the 4th, that'll be big.
The lack of creep is really quite huge at the moment, because it means those tanks are going to be just out of vision of Rogue, so he's not 100% sure what he's fighting into. And it just gives ByuN that little bit of confidence as well as, again, that ledge. You talked about ledges on this map, and this is another ledge ByuN is now using to hit this 4th phase. So Rogue in a little bit of trouble. He's got some roaches up top to counterattack soon as well, but so far, he's not really being able to put those to use, and ByuN is still just rallying units down. Here we go, the fight begins to kick off.
Oh, the Biles not really hitting anything, but that is a lot of Roach Ravager. As I say that, it falls apart. The siege tank anti-armored damage against those roaches just tears them to shreds. There's a drop fiddling around, distracting him on the backside. Rogue here over droning, getting caught out, not quite having the numbers. And with that 4th base going down, he is in big trouble.
Yeah, those tanks on the high ground were so crucial for ByuN right there, and they just destroyed everything. No bios on top of them meant that they just didn't fall at all. They were continuing to do damage throughout the fight, and as Rogue finally does just clean up that drop of the back, he has lost his 4th base. A drop in the natural of ByuN now. Maybe Rogue can do something to start getting some momentum back and maybe finding a way back into this.
Oh, Bio reaction, though, is so quick. Stim Bio is just so good at dealing with this sort of stuff. The Roach is going to struggle to get out of that scan range. One of them will just barely escape, but ByuN's going to say, no way, I'm not going to let you keep distracting me. Does the double scan, takes it out. More Roaches going down the left-hand side at the same time. Rogue here with this massive worker count, but a lot of those workers don't have anywhere to mine from. And he's just going to try and defend and hang on. He skipped Infestors entirely this game. Doesn't have any melee upgrades, but he's going to try and swap into Ultralisk Baneling. And only now starting +1 melee, +3 carapace.
I mean, what a time for ByuN to attack, though, you know? He's going in when Rogue is investing into an Ultra Cavern, which means he's about to build into Chitinous Plating. He's investing into a Baneling Nest, +3 armor, +1 melee. None of this is going to help him deal with this army. And Rogue sort of rolling the dice and saying, please don't attack me, because if you do, I think I'm going to be in trouble. But if you don't, it's my one way to get back into this. A Burrowed Infestor goes down without doing anything, and ByuN has taken position down to the south side of the map yet again.
That energy on that Infestor represented so much hope for Rogue, and it just gets smashed to pieces. He tries desperately to push forwards here, but it's the Zerglings just crashing into a massive wave of fire tank. ByuN overwhelming here. There's only a couple Roaches and Ravagers left. ByuN Siege Tank still strong and solid on the back line.
They really are. You can see Rogue is trying to go in and out and just try and pick away at a couple of units, but every time he does, he gets hit by a tank shot. The Marauders are cleaving away at Roaches, and now Rogue just completely disengages, but he's once again down without a 4th base. A couple of Roaches here and there counter-attacking. The problem is these Roaches are just not doing enough to stop ByuN from attacking with his entire army.
Yeah, this frontal army is so scary. There's just no raw damage output. Rogue has to tap out, and ByuN ties it up 1-1.
ByuN takes game number 2 without the help of Reapers. Very good match for him with the way he played, but I think this was a big thing for him. Everyone's been saying, oh, this guy's got Reapers, you can't beat him. He's only winning because of Reapers, though.
Yeah.
And that Rogue is so good if he doesn't have to play against them. But this was ByuN really throughout the game, just saying, okay, I know how to play this map. I'm going to take the good positions. I'm going to do the right things. And then everything went in ByuN's favor in the end. I mean, Rogue, that very first attack was very hopeful for him. But ByuN did what he needed to do. He gave away the depot, gave away the reactor, pulled a few SCVs to make sure he didn't lose too much, got a tank out, and then made the most of it.
It's really the thing that seems to separate these top-tier Terrans. We saw it in TY's Terran vs. Zergs earlier in the tournament as well, is their ability after taking damage to both macro up flawlessly at home from a really awkward position and to put on counter pressure with whatever sort of random assortment of units they have. In that case, it was the tank and the medevac with like 7 Marines just walking across the map and joining up with it. And that forced a lot of Ravagers and Zerglings out of Rogue. It distracted him. And remember, what's that distracting from? His creep spread as well. It stopped a few creep shimmers. We saw when that push came on the 4th, there was next to no creep in front of that. I really think that these little moves which ByuN does to keep the pressure up just limits Rogue's map control, and I think that was really the key to his success there.
Yeah, that, the early pushes from ByuN shutting down the creep tumors and everything, I mean, it's just ByuN all over, Once he starts, he never stops as well. Momentum was with him all the way through. The swarm is coming.
Oh, there's some great cheerfuls out there.
Reapers OP! There's so many Terran Imbers. Look at that.
A lot of Rogue fans out there. Of course, ByuN is on a path to regain his honor. Both players are tied up 1-1 in this semi-final, fighting for a spot in the grand finals of Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai.
Yes, they are, and again, so important for both of these players in terms of WCS points. This man to the top left is still below top 8 by quite a margin. He really needs a win here. From Generic Green Wings, it's Rogue.
Fighting hard to get those points towards the global finals at BlizzCon. The most important tournament of the year. This guy down here as well, he needs to cement his place towards that top 8. Down here in the bottom right, in the blue, representing Team Expert, it is ByuN. A little bit more confidence on that face after game 2 there.
Yeah, a little bit more confidence, and already a barracks on the low ground. Maybe it's time to bring the Reapers out once again as Rogue. Game after game, just going gas pool, then hatch. Kind of just a safety play, helps you get a bit of a faster speed, but also allows you to change things up into that faster Roach run if you want it as well.
It would be interesting if he chose to do that again, and I do wonder if he was surprised by the lack of Mass Reaper in that last game. You know, his little Ravager pressure definitely worked out for him. Despite it being a heavy Marine count there, his Overlord spotting the high ground worked out really well. ByuN here, barracks on the low ground. I assumed there was going to be 2 more barracks joining it, but yet again, looks like he's just going to open up with a single Reaper expand.
I think ByuN just wants to show everyone, look guys, I don't need the Reapers, trust me. But yeah, I mean, the barracks on the low ground then is maybe just a mind game again if Rogue only just pokes in with the Overlord. You know, if the way it's heading right now, I mean, it's so tough to tell, but it's just weird in general. Like, it's not what you expect, and I think ByuN completely changing up his play for this TvZ here in the semifinals.
Yeah, so I guess the barracks, I mean, Rogue, if he saw it, he might have freaked out a little bit and, oh yeah, it is 3RX Reaper, but instead he's just going to wait for the confirmation in the middle of the map. And these Zerglings, of course, sneaking around the edge as well. And actually could be a little bit annoying if he manages to get them in, but it is the single Marine after the Reaper for ByuN, so that will do a good job of both pushing back Overlords and helping to protect his building command center from any Zerglings.
Factory comes down from ByuN right away, builds the reactor on the barracks. Obviously, though, this is not really looking to be kind of a swap over because that barracks is so far away from the factory, so it's very difficult for the factory to get onto the reactor. So what that means is we're probably going to see Marines and then maybe a Widowmine-based drop. Maybe we see something like a fast siege tank. It's going to be very different in general, though, to what we've usually been expecting to see, which is either Reapers or Hellions.
I think it might be like just a 6 Marine Widowmine drop opening into a single tank for safety and a relatively fast third CC. A lot of options, of course. Can't be sure just yet. We'll have to wait and see. Overlord speed's on the way for Rogue. So Rogue, very confident in his ability to macro, wants to get vision on absolutely everything going on here. That Overlord speed is going to allow him to scout everything that ByuN is up to. And indeed, there is going to be a tech lab. So might be seeing a siege tank push, might be seeing a Banshee swap over. Lots of options available to ByuN here. Lots of choke points and ledges that you can take advantage of, and really great airspace for that harassment to come in from.
Yeah, so many options as Rogue is going to take the third base to the northern side of the map. Now, we were discussing this a little bit just before we casted this series, right? How Rogue always likes to expand this way on Abyssal Reef, so tell us about it.
It looks really great. You know, this is an evolution we've seen where if you look at the area in front of that third, so much wide open space. That's where Zerg loves to engage. The Terran can't really do that thing where they set up siege tanks on the high ground, Marines in the low ground, or have like a spread around a ledge. Of course, the Zerg units being mostly melee focused or shorter range, they want to be able to just wrap in around the Terran units in an open area, get on top of them as quickly as possible, whereas Terran love choke points, they love terrain, they love to use things like siege tanks and widow mines to cause splash damage. So overall, a good choice from Rogue, and something which I've really enjoyed seeing Zerg players finally start to embrace here on Abyssal Reef.
Yeah, and we'll probably expect him to continue expanding towards the upper right as the game goes on. We've seen Overlord getting picked off there by the medevac of Marines, and finally this little bit of drop play from ByuN will go across the map and try and apply some pressure. Some Queens coming out front, maybe hoping to try and shut that medevac down nice and quickly as they do. Have a bit further to push that creep to cover the third, so that's something they do have to be on top of throughout this early stage of the game.
Ooh, and a second siege tank already on the way for ByuN. Oh, you know what? He could set up a push where his SCV is in the top right, middle of the map, potentially come in on top of the third from the high ground. So these early pushes just going to distract, but he might be setting up for a very cute attack on that third base. Oh, he is indeed. He's going to do a bunker. He's going to wedge the siege tanks to the left of that bunker and rain down death on this third. What a beautiful idea here from ByuN.
It's almost as though he knew Rogue was going to expand this way as well. You know, ByuN knows who he's playing against. He knows Rogue likes to do this. And this is going to be so difficult to deal with. I mean, the first tank siege is up, and I mean, does it just about it clips the right-hand mineral, right? Yeah, it clips both of them. He just needs the vision, so there you go. 3 drones immediately.
That is a massive pain there for Rogue. He's got Queens. They're going to come forward a little bit. But when he sees that bunker, he is going to have a big surprise. His Queen's trying to walk up the ramp. He sees the bunker shooting him, and he's got to be really annoyed. ByuN setting up a very annoying harassment on that high ground. Back at home, he's macroing up. This is not all in by ByuN. He's not really reinforcing this. He just wants to delay Rogue droning up as long as possible.
Yeah, third CC is about to finish, and Stimpak is starting, so ByuN's getting into that comfortable position now as, well, that tank is still being super, super annoying. A Liberator coming across as well, just to make this position even more difficult to deal with, as ByuN, well, he actually did pull his medevac back from the left side, as that SCV does get to work on the medevac as well.
Good play here from both sides. The Liberator, of course, can join up with this. And indeed, it looks like it will just reinforce that position, trying to make that even more solid against this. The Zerglings and Queens going to try to break this. The Queens are shooting the tanks. Now they change targets to the Liberator. A little bit of indecision from Rogue, but it looks like he does have the numbers. Only going to lose a few Lings and a couple Queens for that.
Yeah, but I mean, he still had to make those units. He had to sacrifice them, and I love ByuN target firing the drones during that. He actually got 4 workers and 1 tank volley because they got back to mine and expecting that it was going to be safe again. As ooh, what's so ooh?
Oh, sorry, I just mean that he actually clicked on them as they clumped up back there.
I thought
because I didn't realize that. No, sorry.
Yeah, he clicked on it.
I just like making my excited noises when I watch ByuN do cool things in game, man.
But yeah, I mean, that's really sick. An extra 4 workers, which is what this push is all about, trying to, delay a bit of mine and make that third base not as useful as it should be. As now we're going to see a couple of these medevacs just going to move over towards the third base to help hold this. And, well, ByuN again, so far, good pressure, good play, and he's slowing down the creep here and there. I mean, the creep is good from Rogue, but it could be that bit better if the Queens didn't get so preoccupied moving up that ramp.
Yeah, especially in the middle path. It's interesting. ByuN seems to be focusing on slowing that down. He's got those Marines and Widowmines stationed there. Of course, ByuN did slow down things like stim and combat shields and upgrades to do that pressure. So his, he isn't really out there with any big force of Marines just yet. That's not going to happen for just a little bit longer. And this has given Rogue time to get up to Spire. And moving towards that 4th base on the top right. And this is something which Rogue specifically loves to do. You were pointing that out, Wardy. He loves to keep expanding in this direction. And this base, with the creep spread being so pushed back, that is an exposed location. And if ByuN wants to, he might just keep pushing down this far right-hand side.
It's the first game of the series where Rogue is not going to be playing that Roach-based playstyle, and it's going to be the first time we see these mutas coming out, so we'll see if it's something that maybe catches ByuN a bit off guard. He's actually already making a couple of liberators, probably to just help him harass and attack, not necessarily to deal with the mutas, but it could go a long way just in case he's caught a little bit off guard. He's actually making, I mean, he's already got, no, actually, sorry, that is still the first 2. I could have sworn that they were about to finish, but no. I'm just looking at things wrong as the first mutas do start up, and well, ByuN, in the meanwhile, he's still just cleaning up creep where he can. He was just dropping to the other side of the map as well a few moments ago, and well, he just has units left, center, and to the right at the moment.
This pushing in 3 locations, just keeping the creep back, really puts a lot of pressure on Rogue, makes things very difficult. But as the Mutalisks enter the fray, these drops may start to get caught up. ByuN doesn't know that the mutas are popping. He's going to scout it now. In the main base, his drop actually got rejected, and he's going to have to back off just a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something which can be so scary. If you suddenly lose 2 full medevacs because you just didn't expect Mutalisks, that can start to go very south for you very quick, and it could be a good way for Rogue to start building up a bit of his own momentum, which really hasn't existed in this game. As look at ByuN again, getting rid of Fruit Tumor on all angles. I mean, this is such a wide map. Sometimes you see the Terran players, well, I hold that thought because Banelings do come in, and that's a completely cleaned up drop.
Oh, you could see on ByuN's face a little bit of annoyance there. It is a slow reaction to that, not picking up in time. The Banelings getting the good hits. At the same time, this drop is going to be cleaning up the left-hand side. ByuN's 2-2, not very quick this game, especially he forgot his +2 attack for about 30 seconds, so it's trailing, and that hurts his push timing. He would love to be forcing engagements in the near future, but he might have to go into those with an upgrade deficit. He might have to take some 1-1 versus 1-2 engagements. That's something Terran never likes to do.
Yeah, Terran definitely did it, which obviously likes to play with that upgrade lead. His mutas clean up another drop, so again, now Rogue finally getting the map control going. Maybe these Marines can get rid of a few creep tumors once again. Doesn't look as though ByuN is paying attention just yet, though. We're going to see Widowmine will go off. Gets a couple of Banes, which is nice. Pretty much all you could expect considering this medevac is about to die.
Rogue asserting himself on the map right now. His creep on the right-hand side is amazing. Now, all of his creep in the middle and left has definitely been pushed back very far. But in terms of income, in terms of supply, Rogue is getting out of control. And with 83 workers, he's getting to that point where he can just make unlimited Banelings. And ByuN here, I mean, he's got a 4th up, he's got Thors, he's got a few more Marauders and Mines being added in. That's important because the amount of Zerg that's crashing in, ByuN will need a 6 spread and he will need a perfect amount of tech units. Thors and Widowmines are going to be crucial to beating this.
Yeah, that first 4 has just popped out and a second one on the way. So really it's fun to get set up here. Whoa, ByuN, that's not something you often see him doing. Miss rallying in towards the center. Mutas making the most of that. 2 Widowmines, the few Marines going to get picked off here as well. ByuN's still just sitting back. I mean, he definitely doesn't want to fight in an upgrade deficit, as you mentioned earlier, so he does not want to push until his 2-2 is done. He's just going to send a couple Liberators around as well, just see what they can get up to now, while Rogue goes up towards that hive tech and just gets ready for the later stages.
Here as we approach max, it gets very interesting in terms of supply. Because Rogue has to have a bigger work account, as he doesn't have the mules, he has less army supply, but he's going to make up for that by morphing a huge number of Banelings. And having a large number of Banelings, because they only take up as much supply as a Zergling, is a great way to beef out your army, but you take bad hits, you get Marauders with them. If Widow Mines are hitting them in big packs, that's where the Terran can be way more efficient. And now that we are at max, ByuN is going to start pushing. He wants to get in there before Rogue gets out Ultralisks. The Ultra Cavern has just started. Time is running out of the hourglass for ByuN. He needs to get moving.
He really, really does, but you can see Rogue is already setting up counterattacks to be able to slow ByuN's push down. Mutas are going to come through the center. They have to be a little bit careful. They're running towards the 4. They get one Mutalisk, but down to the south side, Rogue. Well, he busts through the first set of depots, but not too much further than that. And ByuN, I mean, he's being kind of distracted a little bit, but he is also shutting down this harassment very well. He's not really lost much chance yet, and he only loses 3 SCVs to the 3rd. And so he is still in the center with his army, and his push is still on.
The gas is very low for Rogue. He realizes he's probably going to have to fight before Ultras are out. So he's going up to 70 Banelings. This is an obscene number. If ByuN overextends here, these Banelings find the connections. He's just going to roll over ByuN. ByuN does not have a lot of bank. He cannot easily replace this army, and he's going on to creep.
I mean, this is so difficult for ByuN because actually you say he doesn't want to overextend, but because Rogue has expanded in the way he has, he's actually, his Bane is already rolling in here. And actually, is this going to be a lot to fight? Yes, it is. Bane's coming in from the right and the left, and Marines are not going to be on 3 Banes time. And ByuN loses a lot right here as Rogue instantly with more Banes than Mutas is going to clean up pretty much everything.
There's just no Marauders in the mix. He had 75 Marines with only 4 Marauders, and without the Widowmine spread, with the Banelings catching him without his Marines being free spread, Rogue takes a massive win, and look at this, almost pure Baneling just rolling through. This time ByuN splits well, takes a good trade, but he's already so far behind.
Yeah, that was really tough. I was just saying it's so difficult for ByuN not to overextend because all the bases of Rogue are on the top side of the map. He has to push in deep to be able to do anything, and even though he's cleaned up creep throughout the game, Rogue was still able there to take a fight with creep on his side, and now a 200 supply Rogue is fighting against a ByuN who is really going to have to sit back a little while, wait for free, and give Rogue the time he needs to get Ultras up.
ByuN has been killing so much creep this game, but you've got to hand it to Rogue. His queens are constantly respreading those creep tumors, and he's putting it back out there, and this is just draining ByuN's scans, draining his minerals because he's not able to drop as many mules. It's buying him time, and now with the 3-3 upgrades, the chitinous plating, the ultras on the way, we're seeing a textbook defensive Zerg versus Terran. Rogue is just getting to that point where he says, nope, I've got ultras, I've got the same upgrades as you, get out of my game.
Yeah, you can see that, well, ByuN, he is just sitting back as Rogue morphs in even more Banes. His chitinous plating is very nearly done, plus 3 Carapace. His melee upgrade will be joining that in completion very, very soon. Once again, a few extra Banes just finishing morphing in. Some extra drones on the way out.
How about this siege tank, eh?
Wow. Just chilling, you know.
Just chilling, man. Just having a look in the middle of the map. That siege tank did end up meeting his end. Of course, ByuN here, he's got +3 weapons done. He's getting Liberators on the way as well as +1 ship weapons. 2 more starports coming down. ByuN is going to try and contest this late game. Picking up a few drones here and there is kind of nice, but these Liberators, he really needs them in his main army when the fight happens.
Yeah, he really, really does, and he needs to take such, again, a defensive spot, right? He needs to set up those libs, kind of work with the choke points, but Rogue is not going to give him a chance, because here we go! He's going to push down, and there's just so many Bailins rolling on in, and they get great connections to begin, as ByuN now has to try and split away with the rest of his army.
My gosh, there's just too many Banelings here. The Planetary gets knocked down. ByuN's supply getting obliterated. Still 4 ultras there. A couple Banelings in the back. Muta's going to dive on the 5th base at the same time. Missile turret starting to fall here. The repair from ByuN at the last second will save that turret. The damage has already been done. 8 SCVs and a lot of the army going down. Rogue still at a healthy 76 worker economy, up on 6 bases.
I mean, Rogue just wants to keep doing these sort of attacks, you know. The problem is if he remaxes now and goes within the next 30 seconds, ByuN still only has 2 to 3 Liberators. And because Rogue always kept his Mutas alive, they can fly in and start to pick off those Liberators very quickly and start to protect the Ultras from a very early stage of the fight. So ByuN's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Again, for him, it's about sitting back, trying to find a way to defend, but so far, it hasn't been looking too brilliant for him.
If he can get rid of those Mutas, maybe with a few good mine hits, some Marine focus fire, then maybe the Liberators will be able to hold on. But oh man, that is so much Zerg. good hits there on the Banelings. The Marauders are spreading back very well. Liberator's doing a bit of damage. The Mute is starting to fall, but there's just too many Ultras in the back line. Rogue not only going to eliminate the base, but also going to take out the vast majority of this Terran bio.
Well, he is going to lose these last couple of Ultras, though, as ByuN kites away, so there is a little bit of hope here for ByuN to maybe hold off this wave of the attack, but can he hold off the next, having just lost 22, 23 STVs? Most likely no is actually okay. There's a couple more Ultras than I thought there was. They are going to start to clean this up. I mean, eventually they go down, but 27 workers. I mean, ByuN, what does he have left over? A handful of Marines and Marauders. I mean, you know when the Zerg is pushing into the planted fortress and then winning the fight after, you know they're in a good position.
Rogue's feeling comfy right now. Space Cows just rolling their way through to victory. And this little desperate force of Terran, ByuN with this small army advantage. Lacking quality, though, is going to try and make a counterattack work. He needs to do something to Rogue. He can't just let him keep on bashing away. The Widowmine shot's going to be good. Not enough bio. Friendly fire on the Widowmine shoots down one of the medevacs there. Last couple Ultras will fall, but only 2 Marines and Marauder left on the low ground. His 5th base has been raided once again. ByuN pretty much out of mining at this point, and Rogue doesn't have an answer for the Liberators. He's going to need those Corruptors to come out.
I actually feel Rogue has just thrown a lot away in the last couple of seconds. I mean, it might not matter at all, but he just lost like 3 Ultralisks to these 2 Liberators. And I mean, oh man, the Widowmine. Nice connection, hits the Banes. I mean, sure, Rogue is still in a great spot, but you know, if ByuN finds that one fight and then suddenly the momentum to never let Banes get morphed again or new Ultras to come out, there is maybe a very slight sliver of hope, and I mean a very slight sliver, as he just, well, yeah, okay, GG. I mean, he had to really have something special, but there just wasn't anything over to that side, and that was going to be big.
I mean, Rogue there just did everything right that game, did not get thrown off by that cute bunker tank play. I actually thought ByuN might commit a little bit more to that, but I think it was, you know, it's kind of silly to try and reinforce that position. It's so far away. He got a bunch of drones. He had mining time. I think it was still quite worthwhile, but Rogue just seemed to be so good at the creep spread as the game went on.
I think it's so hard because at some point you want to put that barracks in the tech lab and start stim. You want to start teching up beyond this point. So it's really, really difficult to actually, you know, keep on committing to that, because are you really going to get the value out of it without falling too far behind?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation there on Abyssal Reef for ByuN. A very good play from Rogue, though. Now only 1 game away from going forwards. The power of Protoss. That sign was a little bit too complicated for me to comprehend right now.
I think he was counting the amount of race per round, like 2p round of 8 or something like that. Yeah. And it was, you know, Protoss pretty good because they had like 3 players, 1 player in the round of 8, and look who's in the final.
Hero carrying that Protoss torch, of course. The winner of this will be facing Hero in the grand finals. This man on screen needs to win 2 in a row.
Time to cry. That must be the most brutal ticker message I've seen all weekend long.
Of course, ByuN known for wearing his emotion on his sleeve, a player who has definitely, you know, both showed a lot of happiness in his successes, a lot of pain in his defeats as well.
Sequencer for map number 4. I mean, it's a large one. It's really good for Reapers, though. And maybe for the first time in this series, we see the 3 Rax Reaper, because we've seen 2 Rax Reaper, we've seen 2-on-1s, we've been seeing factory-based builds, but not the build that's brought ByuN this far already.
Well, let's see what they're going to do as we go here into Sequencer. Up here in the top right-hand side, the Red Zerg player representing Jin Air, it is Rogue.
Sat down to the bottom left, his tournament life on the line, and of course, so many more WCS points that he so desperately needs. Can he get them? Can he stay in it? It's ByuN.
1 game away from going out, but it's back on his map pick. And it would be an absolute crime to not see 3 Rax Reaper here, Wardy. I've got to agree with you. If he doesn't do that, then I will be very, very shocked, because this is the map where he literally went up to Su and ripped his arms out of their sockets. It was just disgusting. Reaper's so powerful in this map, so many ledges to take advantage of, and it looks like indeed he will be going for that second barracks, most likely adding a third afterwards as well.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about him ripping Sue apart. He really made it look as though he was like queuing at like 5 a.m. in the morning. It took him a while to find a game, and then he was like, oh, good, a Zerg on sequencer. Well, that was a waste of time. I mean, it's just so brutal here. As you said, so many ledges, so many nukes and crannies. There was a point yesterday against Sue on this map where he literally put all of his Reapers in this little tight corner, and Sue was like, okay, let's go, and you just lost the fight. Like, I mean, what can you do when those Reapers can just get everywhere?
There we go. Third barracks goes down. ByuN is going to be using his trademark unit, the unit, which was a key part in his taking the BlizzCon trophy last year. A key part in his success throughout StarCraft II. And I can't wait to see how Rogue chooses to answer this. Will it be Roach Ravager? I very much doubt it. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Zerglings trying to cut off the reinforcements of the Reapers, trying to wrap around from behind. One problem Sue had on this map was he didn't do a lot of flanking against the Reapers, and they were able to really take advantage of these choke points. If you only come from one angle on sequencer, they're always going to be able to just back up, throw down those zoning grenades, and you simply can't get the surround.
And I think that's why we probably don't see Roach Ravager as the defense from this map as well, because it's so difficult to split that Roach Ravager up against Free Axe Reaper when they have so many different points of entry. So we're just going to be seeing the Lings here, I believe, and I mean, that Ling speed is halfway done, and again, Rogue opened, gas pooled, and then the hatchery. The first Reapers here, and more are coming across the map as we speak.
A very safe opening here, and of course, one of the big advantages of it is you don't really need to invest in something like 6 Zerglings early on, whereas with a hatchery first, your Queen's delayed, so you kind of need to do that. And yeah, Rogue's just going to be droning up. Evolution Chamber going down. This was Sue's option of choice in this situation. He loved to go for a fast carapace and a Zergling drop counter. Looks like Rogue might be going in the same direction.
Well, that Carapace is able to do so much, of course, because of how fast those Reapers attack, so it's a huge upgrade to get later on, because this Reaper pressure doesn't just last for a minute or two, it lasts throughout the next 3 or 4 minutes of this game at the very least. So I like the idea, and Rogue was actually one of the first to cast. Ooh, is he going to get them? It's so close. He's going to get one.
Oh, 2 Reapers going down already. That is huge. Oh, man, only 2 Zerglings died. The units lost already well in Rogue's favor, but this is more than just the number. This isn't a difference of 100 minerals and 50 minerals and 100 gas. That's actually so much bigger, because these Reapers, if there were 7 out right now, they can pretty much non-stop chain grenades. Instead, ByuN has to run back to his side of the map because his Reapers have lost that power point. And what we're going to see as a result of that is the work account. Normally the Zerg is locked even with the Terran at this point. Instead, Rogue's starting to edge his way ahead even while getting that carapace upgrade.
I mean, you've said absolutely everything, and he's even going to be able to throw down his third hatchery relatively quickly, considering he's playing against Reapers here. Yes, it is on that more safer third base, but even on sequencer against Reapers, it's not easy to hold on to, just because those Reapers really can get everywhere with all of those ledges. As Rogue, he's going for those kind of, he's putting his Lings in the middle of the map. He's looking for either counterattacks or flanking maneuvers, like you said he might have to go for here.
This is so good for Rogue. Only 16 Zerglings out. He just doesn't feel the pressure right now. Oh, cuts off a few more of those Reapers. And that's it. I mean, he was up at 9 Reapers, which is more than a match for 16 Zerglings. But Rogue here with the great moving. And look, the Queen's blocking him out at home. Rogue here showing how to shut down ByuN's Reapers.
This might be one of the best defenses of Free Axe Reaper I've ever seen. Kills 2 Reapers immediately, Ling's putting off reinforcement, Queen's in position all the time. ByuN hasn't even looked like he has a chance, and because ByuN is down here, the reactors are exposed, and 2 of them go down. That's so much wasted time, and it's so much wasted money. You can see ByuN knows that he's in a really difficult position to play from now.
That sucks for ByuN. Those reactors take so long to build. Oh man, this really slows down his Marine power spike. He's going for the double upgrades and the medevacs, but he's going to be down about 8 Marines from where he would have liked to be. So a bit of a pain for ByuN. Gonna slow down his follow-up aggression. And what does this give? It gives Rogue space. And every time we have seen Rogue get space in this matchup, he has just gone out of control. The creep is already starting to blossom across the map, and as he gets out into more lanes, it spreads in more different directions faster, and ByuN has more area to try and cover, which makes the task of actually stopping that creep pretty much impossible. So, I don't know, Rogue here getting a lot of space for himself, getting a lot of control. ByuN in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, 4th base is going out, the Bane Nest coming down, melee upgrade starting up after that Carapace is completed. I mean, Rogue has everything. Again, Ling's in position, not just to stop them going in, but also to kind of go in for the flank once they get away again. That Reaper, he wants to go on a bouncy castle or something. He's bouncing all over the place.
One on the way. A couple Marines out. Looks like Rogue's going to be playing Ling Bane. I wonder if it will be Spire once again. Wouldn't mind that here on this map. Could always do the classic straight to Hive play, which we've seen Rogue do in the past. We've seen Dark try it out this tournament as well with mixed success. Second Evo on the way. So upgrade's going to be very close for both players with a slight advantage there for ByuN.
Yeah, it's looking okay to continue on. Spine Crawler comes down. Rogue is really not letting anything slip by, you know. Spines, look at that double spine next to each other on this base. Just wants to make sure no drops are going to kill me. Those Reapers, if they're still trying to be annoying, they're not going to do anything. Just wants to play it safe. He knows he's had a good early game. He knows that the only thing that's really going to throw it away for him right now is if he just allows ByuN to do what he can still really do the best in the world sometimes, which is to harass everywhere, hit different locations and all the rest. As we do see a drop getting ready to go for ByuN to the top side. And this is going to be interesting to see if Rogue is prepared for this. I think he is. Bane's just finished morphing in.
ByuN needs to get something done here. At the very least, clear some creep, but he cannot afford to throw these units away. He's given Rogue so much time to prepare already. Good Reaper grenades going down, but he has to pick up and evacuate all the Reapers going down for just a couple of creep tumors. Rogue, once again, just looking too good on the defense.
And Rogue just immediately replaces that creep as well to keep pushing it out here in front of what was his fourth base. And there's ByuN again dropping around because he knows he has to find a way back into this, and drops are one of his best ways he's going to do this. Lifts up, gets out of there. The problem is this drop play won't last forever. That Spire's on the way up yet again, and we're going to be seeing mutas very, very soon.
Yep, there's only a limited amount of time that ByuN can keep this up. He's got another drop coming across, but the creep being so far out does spot that. ByuN forced to unload and start to clear that up. Once again, many scans being forced out simply by Rogue being so on top of his creep spread. And here we go. 4th CC is on the way behind this. Liberator's on the way as well. I think ByuN is realizing that he's not going to be able to finish this game early, and instead he's going to try and prepare for those later stages.
Yeah, it looks as though he really wants to actually just play a long game, which is so weird because that's not usually what ByuN goes for. He's the player who attacks and attacks and attacks. But it's great to see him identifying, hey, my early game wasn't brilliant. I don't have the momentum I usually play with here. I have to change things up.
Rogue up 20 workers, almost 80 workers for Rogue right now. He's in that healthy position where last game we saw him make about 250 Banelings and just crash through ByuN. Of course, a big error on ByuN's part was his Marines weren't very well pre-split. They got kind of flanked by the Banelings, but he was also very low on the Marauder count. Now, that gives you a higher damage army, but it also makes you much more vulnerable if the Banelings can close the distance. Going to be interesting to see if ByuN changes it up this time.
Ooh, kill on this hatchery, no cancel right there, so that's actually a nice little pickup as we are going to see the mutas flanking in, so they will get rid of these medevacs. This entire drop cleaned up. I mean, this is pretty nice still for Rogue because, again, he's shutting down ByuN's map control. He's stopping ByuN from being all over the place. If only he hadn't lost the hatchery without the cancel.
Rogue here actually didn't have any Banelings morphs either. He's being so greedy, just trying to get out all those mutas. He's going up to about 15 mutalists. He's got 2-2 about to finish, and oh, that's actually really scary. ByuN wants to be pushing. He wants to be slowing down creep right now. But now that Rogue has this sick upgrade advantage and he's got a big muta count, if he can catch ByuN out on the map and shut down this army, then he will run away with the game very quickly. So the next minute is going to be a very scary time for ByuN.
Yeah, it's tough for ByuN because he can't really drop around because of the mutalists, and he can't really push with the entire army because of those upgrades, and the ability to flank you on sequencer is so huge, of course, with all of these different pathways up in towards the middle of the map. So, well, right now, a Liberator gets shut down. Rogue on top of everything as we do see a big Link counter-attack, and that 4th base will most likely have to lift here for ByuN.
Oh, this is such a pain. Gonna lose those missile turrets. The Ling's trying to split into the natural as well. Might be able to take down those reactors. ByuN is pushing on the front, but he has to pull that back, realizing he's gonna have to spend a lot of APM trying to recover at home.
The reactors go down, and even a barracks here is going to fall as Rogue is just going to continue his way through this. Now he'll fight against these Marines Marauders, and it's still 2-2 against 1-1. This is Rogue doing so much, and he kills the 4th base.
This is a disaster, Wardy. ByuN thrown out of his element here, underestimating that counterattack. He's forced to push on the front. The Banelings are there. Are they going to find the connections? They find a couple of Marines, not that many, but back at home, ByuN has been torn apart. His main wall is down. He's trying to lift drop SCVs against these Lings. Desperation on ByuN's face as Rogue tears through him.
Rogue doesn't even bother fighting that army to the top left because he just says, hey, if I send everything down here, what are you going to do if you can't ever build anything else? And now the production's going to be sieged up, and what on earth is ByuN meant to do? As we see Bane's coming in from the top side, that's going to be it. Rogue goes to the IEM Shanghai Finals.
Crushing, decisive defeat there. Rogue showing an absolute class of his own. not the Rogue that we were used to a few months ago, but he has leveled up. He has taken it to that next stage, and I mean, he slapped that down. We thought Su was the king of playing ZVT against Bio, but Rogue, he just slapped ByuN down, defended the Reapers flawlessly, and a crushing defeat, unfortunately, for ByuN, but a great step forward for Rogue, making it to the grand finals here of the Intel Extreme Masters. I can't wait to hear what he has to say in the interview. We'll be finding out in just 1 minute. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to last post-game interview. Standing alongside me is Jinner Greenwings Rogue. 자, 이병렬 선수 너무나도 시원한 교전에 지금 상하이 너무 덥거든요. 제가 또 캐나다 와가지고 엄청 더워서 죽을 것 같은데 더위가 싹 사라지는 너무나도 신나는 경기였습니다. Rogue, what a game. Really chic, cool trades, and just constant fights everywhere. It made me forget about this insane heat in Shanghai.
일단은 제가 어제 그 삼병영 사진만 생각하고 생각을 되게 많이 했어요. 근데 일단 1세트에서 변현우 선수가 사신 원래 변현우 선수 부유들 보면 사신이 공격적으로 안 하고 좀 압박만 주고 살리는 식으로 하더라고요. 그래서 그걸 약간 맞춤식으로 저도 링 소수만 찍고 드론을 째고 일단 그리고 바퀴 올인을 했는데 그게 잘 통해서 변현우 선수가 이제 다음 세트부터 3병형 사신을 하기 좀 껄끄럽게 만든 게 중요한 원인인 것 같아요.
So yesterday, when I saw ByuN do 3 barracks Reaper constantly, I felt like all he was doing was just applying pressure, and that was it. So my mind was, okay, then I'm gonna do exactly what you're doing, make just enough lings, just give you back the pressure that you've thrown at me, and then go for all-in roach attacks. And it looked like it worked out in the game 1, and from that point on, I think ByuN was a little more hesitant to use 3 barracks Reaper. 그럼 어제 어윤수 선수 경기하시는 거 보고 느낀 점이 많았던 것 같은데 그럼 어윤수 선수 플레이랑 지금 오늘 했던 이병헌 선수 플레이랑 비교를 했을 때 뭐가 정말 크게 달랐다. 이 점은 내가 정말 잘한 것 같고 어윤수 선수가 이래서 진 것 같다. 이런 얘기 한번 해주세요. Yesterday, ByuN played against Su and there was 3 barrack Reapers all day, all night and Su just could not handle it.
일단 윤수 형이랑 저랑 그 차이는 3병형 사신을 제가 윤수 형보다 한 몇 배는 더 많이 당해봤을 거예요. 그래가지고 제가 또 변현우 선수랑 요새 대회도 많이 해서 저 또 숙소 생활을 하다 보니까 연습도 많이 할 수 있고 그 3병형 사신에 대해서 얘기도 많이 나누고 그게 되게 컸던 것 같아요.
누가 얘기 제일 많이 해줬어?
성주나
그렇죠.
성주가 제일 많이 도와준 것 같아요.
So, as you guys know, Junior Green Wings, we still live in a team house. We practice together. We talk with each other a lot. And Maru really helped me prep for this matchup, especially against Three Barracks Reapers. And you know, it's not that Su's a bad player. It's just I've had a lot more experience playing against ByuN and just against that build overall. So, you know, it went out a lot easier than I thought it was.
자, 그럼 마지막으로 제가 듣기로는 이병렬 선수 생애 첫 결승이라는데 여기서 끝낼 수는 없잖아요, 그죠?
So lastly, Rogue, this is your very first finals appearance in your entire career.
진짜 이렇게 높이 올라갈 줄 몰랐고 너무 지금 간절해가지고 정말 꼭 우승해보고 싶어요.
No, I didn't think I'd soar up this high ever in my career. Now that I'm here, nothing's gonna stop it. I want to go as far as I can and actually clinch this IEM Shanghai. Thank you very much and congratulations for advancing to the finals. Back to you, experts.
Thanks, Mao. Oh my God, he is looking so good, doing exactly what Su could not. Guys, what do you think about this series?
I mean, I knew that Rogue would win, but I thought that Sequencer would absolutely be ByuN's map. It is such a good 3-Rax Reaper map, and we saw how well it went for ByuN against Su. I didn't expect it to go as well, but I thought it would do damage. I didn't think he'd lose 2 Reapers immediately to a Ling flank. I didn't think that his reinforcements would be killed. I didn't think he'd be losing those add-ons at the front. I mean, apparently it's imbalanced and it's unstoppable, especially on maps like that. But I mean, you know how a lot of people are saying that ByuN makes 3-Rax Reaper look easy.
Yeah.
Well, Rogue made defending 3-Rax Reaper look easy.
You're right. Lings do need a nerf. What do you think, Rotterdam?
Rogue played like an animal. There's no other way to put it. I loved Abyssal. I think that was definitely the best game of the series, where I think the early game things were going all right for ByuN. He had that little bunker, the tank preventing. That's one of the cool things about Abyssal as well. The third place is almost never in the same location. Now, more and more often, we see it being taken at sort of 12 o'clock, I guess. That's what it is. And I like what ByuN was doing against it. It felt like this is a very fair, straight-up game from this point on, and if you can truly make the difference, if you can pick him apart, this would have been the game. But Rogue just slapped everything around. Very high drone count, but made an insane amount of banelings. We had that crucial fight where ByuN put almost everything on the left side, but then still had a lot of Marines on the right side. But because there were 69 banelings, he had enough banes for the left, and then he cleaned up on the right top side as well. Yeah, awesome game by Rogue. I think that was a very, very impressive game. That last game, Sequencer is obviously a great Reaper map, but if you lose 2 Reapers against 2 Zerglings early on, I don't want to say it's over, but that takes so much of the power, of the juice out of that entire game plan of ByuN. That from that point on, you can see that ByuN is not playing the game he wants to play. Did an all right job and clawing his way back into it, but I also felt that Rogue felt so comfortable, and he was never worried. And then at one point, when a few Lings broke through, you see Lings killing that fort base as well, and you could just see it immediately at ByuN's face, even when he still had 106 supply. He's like, this ain't going well. And then more Lings flooded in. Awesome series by Rogue. He deserved it. No other way to put it.
Yeah, and something I was very impressed with ByuN. Yeah, he lost 1-3, but the fact that he kind of took this series where I think a lot of people are expecting to go 3-Rax Reaper a lot, and I think that it also includes Rogue, and then barely uses 3-Rax Reaper. What was it, like 2-Rax immediately, 3-Rax at the end, but real, just legit normal stuff in the middle that wasn't even on Proxima. So big kudos to him for that, showing that he can play such a huge range of TvZ, but he is out in the round of 4, and he's definitely not locked for BlizzCon at this point. Just one more thing about ByuN, guys. Do you think that from what you've seen here today, he can finish out the rest of the year strong enough to make it back to BlizzCon?
I mean, the Reapers are about to change, as we're hearing on the wins. And I honestly don't, you can see, you were just bringing up that ByuN is transitioning into different build orders, or actually going back to a very, very old build order, bringing out the 2-1-1, 1-Rax expand, that sort of thing. If I had to predict, I'd have to say that I actually don't think the World Champ will be the global finals this year. I don't know if he's going to make it far enough in GSL. He has to go all the way for GSL, or is he just not going to make it?
Okay.
Respectfully disagree.
I want to be wrong.
That
I
didn't
want to be
sound
wrong.
so respectful, Rodder.
I want to be wrong.
I think this was a really good run by ByuN. I made it out of a very tough group, and in semifinals, losing against a man that's obviously on fire. I mean, like, why is Rogue not bleaching his hair blonde, by the way? Because he's obviously turning Super Saiyan over here.
Yeah,
he's way stronger than he's ever been. He has never been this strong. I think this is all right. He picks up a whole bunch of points, and I think the next few months, ByuN is going to take his gameplay even further than it's already been. I think we're still going going to see him. And at the global finals, he's going to be a real force to be reckoned with as well.
I really hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people do, but Rogue, he is the one that goes on. He goes up against Hero coming up next. That is the finals, a best of 7. Now, while Hero is setting up on stage to take on Rogue, let's follow Claris around China Joy.
Hey guys, welcome to the 15th annual China Joy here in Shanghai. It's not only home to the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai. Let's go in and take a look. China Joy is the largest digital entertainment expo in China. It's a massive 15 halls strong, with the event spanning over 140,000 square meters. It has roughly 4,000 games on display and over 325,000 in foot traffic. This is the 15th China Joy event, with its first being held in 2003. It's also the 9th time the Intel Extreme Masters has been in China and the 4th time at China Joy. You can find almost anything here, from cosplay to virtual reality, from esports competitions to game previews. You'll even find dance parties, or sometimes just people looking to escape the heat. This year is one of the hottest summers that China has recorded, with temperatures rising to 40.2 Celsius, or for you Americans, 104 Fahrenheit. And of course, our favorite location here at China Joy, the Intel Extreme Masters stage. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more Intel Extreme Masters action.